All right, it's Christopher Isherwood. I'm the novelist. I just want to do some commenting for you. Generally speaking, we don't expect anyone to watch our videos because when we look to see how many people, we're lucky if we get three people that read our videos. All in all, why do we do it? It's mostly for us, you know. It's me and the other characters here on this channel because we like to keep ourselves up to date. But we want to talk a little bit about the Course in Miracles. And to give the background of the Course in Miracles, it was a channeled work from 1975. Supposedly, it came from Jesus the Christ. And basically, what he's saying to all of us here is we're having a horrible, horrible, horrible dream. The whole human lifetime that we live here is a horrible, horrible, horrible dream. And the dream is about separation, separation from God, separation from heaven, and separation from every other person, place, and thing. Everything here is separate. And, well, that's a good story. I like that story. It makes more sense than anything. But a lot of the things that are in the Course in Miracles are problematic because it says you, for example, are judging things and you are projecting on others. And when you first start looking into the mind, these things seem to make a lot of sense. That person is projecting onto me, you know, whatever they're feeling, they're projecting it onto me. The great example is the closet case homosexual. Anyone that knows Christopher Isherwood's history knows that I am a closet homosexual. That's beside the point. But the point is, a homosexual that grew up in the years when homosexuality was illegal, and it went until in Britain until, well, in Canada it was 1965. I'm not sure what year, but up until 1965 in Canada it was actually illegal to be homosexual. So people didn't want to be openly gay, even if they were, and you know that's what they felt they were. And the government didn't like people being gay because they made it illegal, and then they knew there were gay people around, and they could be blackmailed, and that was the worst thing, was being able to blackmail someone who had information and was working for a government. So you had these honeypot things the Russians would set up. If you were straight, they'd give you a young Lolita, a beautiful blonde young bombshell who would come over and, you know, I was going to say something rude, but basically have sex with you. And once you were in bed, then you would spill the beans about whatever she asked. And this actually happened. The John Profumo scandal. John Profumo was a minister of the Crown in Great Britain, and he was the Minister of Defense. And he got wrapped up. He was an older gent, probably in his 50s or 60s, and he had a young girl in her 20s. I say girl, but you mean girls are really girls in their 20s. And the girl was a Russian agent, and she got the Profumo to spill the beans on all kinds of British defense secrets. And it came out in the media, and Profumo had to resign in disgrace. And the Russians got away with a bunch of information. Well, that's what they did with the straight man. Later on, it came out that the Prime Minister, Edward Heath, was also set up in a honeypot, this time with an underage man. How underage, I don't know exactly, but let's say he was under 20. Is that a big deal? Well, some people say, well, you know, anyone that's in their teens that's having sexual relations with an adult, Edward Heath was probably in his 50s or 60s, you know, clearly it was the old man's fault. The Course in Miracles would say, no, that's a projection. You're judging this person. And it's very difficult to figure out, are they right or are they wrong? I don't think you'll ever be able to figure it out. The Course in Miracles is a huge book about this thick. If you turn to a page at random, and you read half of a page, no more, maybe a third of a page, you might get it. But if you try to read more than a third of a page of the Course in Miracles, you will get lost because it is too complicated. It's too complicated for me, and I'm a novelist. So the whole message from the Course in Miracles is you're having a bad dream. Everyone else in your dream is having a bad dream. Don't judge other people for what they're doing. Let them off the hook, because whatever you're seeing is actually a projection of what's coming from yourself. It makes no sense, but is it true? I don't even think it's true, but I think it's also true that people don't know what the hell they're doing. People that get into these honeypot things, people always say, well, you had a choice. The ancient Hindu rishis said, you don't have a choice. It is a huge illusion. It's called Maya in the ancient Sanskrit, which is the ancient language of India. Maya is this great illusion that we live in. That's not illusion. This is real. This is solid. This camera is real. It's all part of the illusion. It's an elaborate illusion. It's created by God knows what. God itself. But the whole point of it is you have the illusion that you choose between buying a red car or a black car, but you don't. Even some research, there was Benjamin Libet from some American university, and of course later on Libet's work was questioned and said it's not true. But Libet said that before the conscious mind thinks that it made a decision, examining the brain patterns using maybe an MRI or something, they discovered that the unconscious parts of the mind knew what the decision was before the conscious mind got the information that it had made a decision. So it's very blurry as to whether you make a decision or not. In my personal opinion, you don't make a decision. It is all made for you. And that is why you must forgive others for everything they do, even horrible mass shooters, because you don't know what's going on in their mind. Do they actually want this? If they do want it, it is given to them to want to do it. By the universe gives it to them as part of this great play in consciousness. Sananda, the Ascended Master, told us that many years ago. What's going on here is a great play in consciousness. He didn't say it was a dream, a bad dream like the Course in Miracles. Getting back to the whole point of it all, are you going to... oh dear, they don't want me to talk about it. Are you going to blame Prince Andrew for going to Epstein's Island and, he was in his 40s perhaps, and there's a picture of some girl who was under 21. Are you going to blame him for being in that picture? And then are you going to tell everyone, oh, well, he's a dirty old man, there's a picture of him? No one knows what went on in Epstein's Island, and everyone knows that in high school, even pre-high school, there were certain children who were highly sexualized from their family or from their character. Well, you could see in certain families, one would be a prude and one would be highly sexual. So did they want it? The ones that went to my school certainly seemed to want what they wanted. Or were they putting it on as a show? I don't know what was going on in their head. I don't think they knew. The whole point of the matter is we prosecute people for doing these horrible things because they're horrible, murders and things. But what is really going on? Someone will say, you're insane. The person knew what they were doing when they shot. No, I don't think so. I don't think, they might have thought that they knew. But the thing is that you don't know what's going on in the mind, what's bubbling up from the unconscious mind, giving you this. Where is it coming from? Some archetype? This is gobbledygook, right? It's all gobbledygook and buzzwords. Yes, but it's describing something real that people have looked into and looked into and looked into. And the more they look, it's like pulling a string out of a magician's hat, and it keeps coming and it keeps coming and it keeps coming. It's the rabbit hole from Alice in Wonderland. You keep looking down there and you keep going, and it never ends. It never ends. You can never, ever get an answer. You live in a house of mirrors. Someone else, Greg Braden, say, everyone else is a mirror of yourself, mirroring back to you what you are. If they're mirroring me, they're all novelists. What would I do with all of these elite pedophiles and billionaires who own everything and are overcharging us? I would let them off the hook. I don't think I'd even give them a spanking. I'd give them a nice supper and say, go down there, they're going to have a bonfire later on, bring some marshmallows and enjoy yourself. Do you think I'm crazy? I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I know most of the people who are pointing the finger at Epstein and Prince Andrew have done horrible things. Maybe they haven't done what these ones have done, but there is no one on the planet who is Jesus. No one on the planet is as white as the pure driven snow. No one is. And if you say they are, I'm telling you, you are a liar. You're a bloody liar. No one on the planet is without sin. That's what the Roman Catholic Church teaches. I hate that teaching, but it's true. Maybe you're not born with sin. You're born innocent. But there's no one by the age of 30 who hasn't had some kind of a problem. It's the nature of this planet. So maybe you're not born in sin, but the planet is full of sin and you're going to be like a pig, wallow in it, and it can't help but stick to you. So you must let everyone else off the hook, even from the most horrible. What about if they're dangerous? You know, like they just did this and you don't want them to do it again because they're a mass killer. Well, let them off the hook, but lock them up. Observe them for some time. I don't know. I can't answer these questions for you. Who's the most dangerous person? Well, you say it's one of these mass murderers, but I'll give you the story. In Canada, there was a colonel. He was well up in the Canadian military. They don't have too many generals in the Canadian army and military. They don't have, it's not a big country, so they don't have a hell of a lot of generals. And they don't even have a hell of a lot of colonels. But there was a colonel. And his job was to run military bases, and he flew jets. And after he flew F-18 jets for Canada, he was the designated pilot to fly the Prime Minister of Canada around from here to there, all over the world. This colonel was going around Ottawa, Canada, at night time. He started off as a peeping Tom. Then he started breaking in and raping women, and later on, he started murdering women. At night time, he was murdering women. During the daytime, he was flying the Prime Minister from here to there. He was a colonel in the Canadian Army. What is the point of this all? No one is above innocence. No one is got a pay grade so high that they can't be corrupted. Don't point the finger at the colonel. Yes, he was a murderer. What else? He was defending his country, and not so much. They weren't at war. But he must have done a bang-up job in order to get promoted to colonel. I mean, the government needs killers, right? They need killers to work for them. People have no compunction to kill. For me, the Prime Minister, when I want you to bomb someone in Afghanistan. We just don't like you to go around being Jack the Ripper in Ottawa. This is your story for boys and girls. I'm Christopher Isherwood.